I literally was able to go from being 100 pounds, being skinny, to 155 pounds while maintaining a small waist and a flat stomach, even abs along the way. And I want to share with you guys what I did so that you can apply that too on your journey to get thick, because I know not everyone is trying to get skinny or trying to lose weight, so I got you. First thing you guys want to keep in mind though when it comes to your journey, regardless of even if you want to gain weight or you want to lose weight, your genetics will play a big part on what your body will look like once you achieve the goals that you have. Because a lot of times what we do is we associate an image and a picture of someone else with our body goals, and then once you reach to that body goal, you look at yourself and you're like, well, I don't look the way that person looks. And that's because you guys are two different people. Like, you and her don't have the same genetics. Even if you had the same parents, you will not look the same. I don't look the same as my sister does, okay? Everyone is different, so I want you to not associate your body goals and being thick with a particular person, because you're gonna set yourself up for failure. Let's just get it out the way. The first thing you want to keep in mind when it comes to getting thick that I applied was you have to be in a surplus. If you're someone who has a fast metabolism and you're not able to gain weight, the breakdown of it all is that you are burning way more calories than your body is consuming. And when I say consuming calories, I don't mean empty calories, because that's one of the biggest mistakes I made at the beginning. Girl, I was eating McDonald's, I was eating fast food out of my butt, okay, for lack thereof words. I literally would go to the gym, and right after my session I would go to McDonald's and get a 6-piece chicken nugget trio with a milkshake, thinking it was gonna go to my ass. It went nowhere. It's empty calories. What you should be doing is having foods that are actually full in nutrients and foods that actually will serve you like protein. I was lacking protein like crazy. I was probably getting like 60 grams of protein a day, where I should really be hitting at least 120 grams of protein a day. To know how much protein you want to have a day, start by multiplying your weight by 0.8. So if you weigh 120 pounds, you want to do 120 times 0.8, and that would give you your goal of how much protein you should hit a day. Once you're able to consistently achieve that amount of protein a day, you then want to boost that to 1 gram of protein per body weight. So if you're 120 pounds, you want to be having 120 grams of protein a day. The best and easiest way to get a lot more protein in are through protein shakes. I neglected protein shakes in the beginning, and then when I started to have protein shakes, I wasn't consistent with it. Once I began being more consistent, I started having protein shake every single day, sometimes twice a day. I would even double up the scoops. I got thick, okay? And I got thick in all the right places, because protein is gonna build muscle, and that's what you want. In addition to your protein powder that you guys want to be consuming, you also want to be making sure that every single meal has protein. So from your breakfast to your lunch to your dinner, you also can't be skipping any meals. If you're skipping meals, you're gonna be skipping out on your gains, okay? Make sure you're feeding that ass, make sure you're feeding the legs, make sure you're feeding the gains. That's literally what you got to keep in mind. Protein bars and protein bites are really good options for a protein snack. So if you're someone who has had protein bars in the past and you like a certain brand or you like a certain flavor, let me know down below, because unfortunately for me, I can never find a protein bar or protein bites that don't have any nuts in it, because I'm allergic. So I've never got to really try them before. But if you guys are someone who has tried them, let me know, and let other people know too, so you can put them on as well, because I wish I could. I really wish I could. With your protein, you also want to make sure that you're working out. So if you're someone who really wants to grow your lower body specifically, I highly recommend you guys to do at least 3 leg days a week. I know it sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot, but the more you do, the faster your results will come, okay? Especially when it comes to growing a specific muscle group. If you guys are not too sure about what exercises to do, what exercises help grow your glutes, I have a ton of videos on that. I'll leave some of them linked down below for you guys. As I was going through my journey, I was able to always maintain a small waist, flat stomach, and abs. Having my abs has a little bit to do with genetics, but it also has a lot to do with what I was eating and how much I was eating. Even though I was in a surplus, I wasn't in a crazy surplus where I was gaining so much weight. Granted, when we were in a lockdown, it was 2020 and all that stuff was happening, I did gain more weight than usual. Most people did, because we had nothing to do. I was not being active. I was just eating as a hobby, addition to having to eat to survive. So outside of that moment in my life, I was always able to maintain my abs and my flat stomach. And I never really did any ab exercises. I don't want you guys to think in order for you to have abs, you need to do crunches, you need to do sit-ups, you need to do a bicycle. Those are surface level things for your abs to get the definition, yes. But if you don't have enough muscle, if you're not lean enough, your abs are not going to show. And so I've always been lean enough to the point where my abs can show, and I was able to maintain that because I was really monitoring what I was eating. I wasn't counting my calories. I'm not saying you have to count your calories in order for you to achieve this. You don't have to. You just have to be mindful of what you're eating and make sure that majority of the calories that you are eating comes from protein. So when you break down your calories and your macros, you want to make sure that majority of your calories are coming from protein and the rest can be divided amongst carbs and fat. Those are very interchangeable in terms of like macros. Now, after a couple years of being able to maintain 150 pounds, being thick, being happy and content, I wanted to build more muscle, but I didn't want to gain body fat. So that's what body recomposition is. So if you're someone who's like, I like my weight, but I want to lose body fat and I want to build more muscle, that's what body recomposition is. So your body can literally weigh the same, but you can look completely different because body fat takes up more density in your body than muscle does. So it will slim you down, bringing out more muscle and losing the body fat, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. It makes sense. It sounds like it makes sense. So in order for you to achieve body recomposition like I was able to do for myself, I was eating at a maintenance level. Now, as I said, I never counted my calories. I never even wanted to count my calories. I find it tedious and annoying. I did it once or twice to kind of see what my calories look like in a day, just to get an idea. So you can definitely do that with like apps such as MyFitnessPal, but you don't have to count your calories. If you see for months on end the way you're eating and you've been able to maintain your weight, then you're eating within your calorie maintenance level. You just have to tweak it a little bit more, eat a little bit more to get into that surplus. Or if you want to lose, you have to tweak it by decreasing what you're eating, cutting out what you're eating so that you can be in a it's in the top of my head. Deficit. God. So when it comes to body recomposition, it's literally going to be maintenance or a little bit in a deficit, but nothing too crazy where you're going to be losing a lot of weight or gaining a lot of weight. What also really changed the game for me, what made me really put on a lot more muscle in like the last year, so the year of 2023, has been creatine. Creatine monohydrate is one of the most well-recognized, well-researched supplement you can take. It's produced in your body, which makes it very natural, but your body doesn't produce enough of it for you to really pack on the muscles that you would pack on if you were taking it as a supplement. Now, when it comes to creatine, you want to make sure that you're getting a creatine monohydrate and not anything other than that, okay? Because there's a lot of things out there, and I feel like anything that's other than a creatine monohydrate is so expensive, and I don't want you to have to spend a lot of money when it comes to getting thick and getting into the body that you want. Because let's be real, like being a gym girl is not cheap. You have to already pay for your gym membership. You have to then pay for your protein powder. You then have to pay for the creatine. And if you take pre-workout, you have to pay for pre-workout. And it's just like, you have to up on these things almost every month. That's like a couple $100 every single month just to be in a gym. It's crazy. So if you can opt from something like pre-workout, you don't really need that. BCAA, you don't really need that. Like the two supplements I would really recommend you to get on your journey to get thick is creatine and protein powder. Just stick with those and you'll see crazy results. I take the Jack Factory creatine monohydrate. I'll leave that link down below because it is actually found on Amazon, and I find it's personally like a very affordable creatine. It's like $25 to $30 a container, and the container lasts me about 2 months. You want to take a scoop a day because one scoop is about 5 milligrams, and that's enough to get you to really build on muscles. So even on days that you're not training, you want to make sure that you're still taking your supplements. You still have to take your creatine, you still have to take your protein powder. Now, if you're like me, because I'm not perfect, and you forget to take your creatine on your days that you're not training, what I do is actually mix my creatine powder into my smoothies, which I mix my protein powder in. So I kind of get 2 for 1. And on days where I train, I mix my creatine in my water jug and I bring it to the gym with me, because creatine is tasteless. It doesn't taste like anything. So when you mix it in your water and you dilute it with your water, you literally can't taste anything. It tastes like water. So that's the best way for me to get it in. You can take creatine really at any time of the day. I would recommend before your workout because it kind of gives you like a nice little boost of energy in a way, I find, when you take your creatine before your workouts. And your protein powder, you don't have to take your protein powder. I know this is a myth that you have to take it like right after your workout. You don't. Just try to get it in every single day. I would recommend doing it after your workout just so you don't forget, because I've noticed with myself, if I don't have my protein powder or my protein shake after my workout, I'll be like, oh, I'll have it later, and then later comes and I'm not hungry and I end up not even having it. So just make sure you get your protein powder and your protein shake in anytime throughout the day, but preferably after your workout, just so that you can remember and not forget, because we don't want to skip out on gains. And with creatine, you guys also have to keep in mind that you have to be drinking a lot of water, because essentially what creatine does is pretty much it like pumps your muscles with like water. So you want to make sure that you're consuming a lot of water. Once you come off of creatine, you're not going to lose all the muscles that you've gained and everything that you put into the gym using the creatine. You will still maintain it, but it's just one of those supplements that you have to just keep taking. So like once you start it, you kind of have to stick with it, kind of like getting waxed. You know, they say like once you start waxing, you gotta commit to it and always get waxed. You can't keep going from wax to shave, wax. You gotta commit to it. So that's the same thing when it comes to your supplements. And obviously creatine will help you put on muscle, but what would really even help you progress and get to that point that you want to get with building muscle, gaining weight, all of that, you have to really push yourself at the gym. Because as much as you may think you're pushing yourself, chances are very high, like 85% chance you're not pushing yourself as hard as you can. I myself sometimes don't even push myself as hard as I can. You don't have to necessarily be hitting PRs. You don't necessarily have to be going with the heaviest of heaviest weight, but you do have to push yourself with certain exercises to failure. So if you're going on a moderate weight and you're doing this as your first lift, which is supposed to be the heaviest lift for you, but you're not gonna hit any new PRs today, you still have to push yourself to failure. So let's say, for example, your 1 rep max for hip thrust would be 350 pounds, but you're not gonna go in and hit 350 pounds. You wanna hit maybe 250. So you put the 250 and you do 10 reps. You know you can go more than that. Like you probably can push to 15 to 20 reps, you know? You wanna really make sure that you're pushing yourself to failure for a good variety of exercises, because that's where the results are really gonna come through. And that's where I started seeing results for myself. When I really started pushing myself to failure, really going for that full range of motion, getting that full stretch, and learning how to properly do each exercise, I was seeing crazy results. Like even down to my glutes, I saw such crazy results in my glutes when I started being more intentional with my exercises and started pushing myself and not just copping out because, oh my god, it's burning, it hurts, and just stop. No, when it burns and it hurts, that's when you gotta keep pushing. Like you have to literally push yourself to the point where you can't even lift the weight. That's what's going to failure means. Now, you don't have to go to failure for every single exercise, every workout, obviously not. I would say stick to about 2 to 3 exercises every single workout. Granted, you're doing about 5 to 6 exercises per workout. And then the other exercises, you can go more to like moderate to light amount of reps and sets where you're not actually going to failure. But literally guys, like those are the tips that help me progress to 100 pounds to 155 pounds and being able to maintain that weight for almost, I would say, over a year and a half now, but look completely different, because I literally don't look the same that I looked earlier this year. Like I've definitely gained more muscle. I can see it on myself. My back has gotten a lot more stronger, and I haven't been hitting any new PRs. Like I don't lift and go ham every single session in terms of trying to do my 1 rep max, but I do push myself and I do really push to failure for a lot of my exercises. I do eat my protein powder and my protein every single day. I do have my creatine, and I am just consistent. It's been 8 years, okay? But literally guys, those are the tips that have helped me go from 100 pounds to 155 pounds and being able to like maintain that weight and still look very different. Like I can definitely see the changes in my body. I don't look the same that I did 12-11 months ago. I've gained so much more muscle on my upper body, in my back. My legs have gained so much more muscles, and it's literally just from being more intentional about my exercises and my workouts, really pushing myself to failure. I haven't even hit any like new PRs because that hasn't been a goal or focus of mine. I've just been sticking to certain weights and really pushing myself with those weights. I've been being consistent with my protein intake and my protein shakes. I've been being so consistent with my creatine and just being patient. Like that literally is the formula and all the tips that you will need to get thicker and to gain weight all in the proper areas. I know at times it can be discouraging, it can be very unmotivating because you're not seeing results, or you're not seeing results as quickly as you would want to see them, but I promise you, you have to kind of just see it through. Because for me personally, I've been working out for 7-8 years. So when someone looks at me and they're like, oh my god, your body goes like, I want my body to look like yours, it's just like, I appreciate that. That's like the ultimate compliment. Thank you. But do keep in mind that, girl, this took me 7 to 8 years to build. Like, don't think that you're gonna achieve all this in a year, unless you're like competing in bodybuilding and doing these extreme, like, you know, workouts and eating regimes. But if you're just a regular person, it's gonna take you some time. It literally is gonna take you some time. But if I was to tell you that if you just see it through and you be consistent just a little bit longer, maybe a couple years or so, you will literally have your dream body. Are you gonna give up? or you're just gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna keep pushing because I know I'm gonna get it. Like, if you know it's guaranteed and it's gonna be there, are you gonna give up? Like, if someone told you, if you were just to show up to work every single week, 5 days a week, and in 2 years you will be a millionaire making $1 million every single year, are you gonna quit your job? It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. You just have to show up for yourself, be consistent with your efforts, don't fall off track even when it becomes discouraging. You just have to keep in mind what your goals are while you're doing this. And I promise you, in a couple of years, you might be sitting down talking to a girl, be like, listen, you just gotta do these things because I did it and this is where I got. That's literally what I feel like I'm doing now. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know down below. If you have any tips or even like any preferences in terms of protein powder, what are brands that you like, what are some flavors that you like, protein bars, protein shake, protein meals, share them down below. I would love to learn about them and like try them myself, or other people too can like learn about them and try them themselves. Just sharing information with each other type of thing. But once again, I appreciate you guys watching my videos. If you like this content, make sure to give this a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!